Area of a circle is going to be super important as we continue on in the circles unit. So I want to make sure that you're very comfortable with finding the area of the circle. I'm going to explain to you what the formula is. I'm going to do some model practice problems, explain to you what it means to round versus exact answers, meaning leaving it in terms of pi. So area refers to the size of a surface, its amount of space inside the boundary of a two-dimensional object. In this case, we are focusing on circles. So the area of a circle is actually pi r squared, where r equals the radius. The radius of a circle is 2 meters. Find its area. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So the first thing you want to do is start with the formula. So we know area equals pi r squared. We're going to substitute. We're substituting for r. Well, it tells me that the radius is 2 meters. So we substitute for 2. Pi 2 squared. When it says to round to the nearest tenth, you're just going to put everything into your calculator as is. So back to my Desmos app. I strongly suggest downloading it if you don't have a calculator at home. You can go on a cell phone as well. So we have pi times 2 squared. We gotta find the squared button. It's gotta be somewhere here. Oh, found it. Right? So it's 12.566. So this answer would be 12.6. 12.6, and that's meters, and we're talking about area, so this would be meters squared. Okay, next problem. We're going to find the area of the circle below, round your answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, again, we're rounding. That means everything goes into our calculator. Start with the formula. Pi radius squared is the area of a circle. We know that the radius, based on this picture, is not given. However, they give you a diameter. The diameter is here. We know it's a diameter because the endpoints are both on the circle and it goes through the center, which means the diameter is 20 meters. Which we know the radius would be half of that, so it would be 10. So we go back and we substitute. We have pi 10 squared, okay? 10 squared is 100, so we do 100 times pi. We get 314.159. So 314, we're rounding to the nearest tenth, 314.2. Your units would be meters squared. Don't forget that squared, okay? With circumference, it would just be meters. But when we're talking about area, it's meters squared. Lastly, let's find the area of the circle below. Leave your answer in terms of pi. That means we put everything in the calculator except pi. No pi in calculator. We're just going to tack it on in the end. So it's still the same circle. So we knew that the radius was 10, so we're still using the same idea here. Start with your formula, pi radius squared. Substitute, pi 10 squared. 10 squared is 100, okay? So you would just put 10 squared into your calculator, tack on that pi, and then it'd be meters squared. This answer is in the terms of pi. This answer is rounded to the nearest tenth. This is the difference, okay? You need to make sure that you put the pi at the end of your answer, okay, so that people know it's in terms of pi. And now would be a good time for you to pause this video, check that you can do this problem, and then unpause it when you're ready to check your answer. A circle has a radius of 5. We start with our formula. Area equals pi radius squared. Okay, we're going to do 1 in terms of pi, 1 rounded. So if the radius is 5, we're going to substitute, which is pi 5 squared. We know 5 squared is 25. In terms of pi, I would just write 25 pi, and the units is inches squared. So this answer over here is in terms of pi. Okay. The next answer is not going to be in terms of pi. We still have pi 5 squared, but this means we go to our calculator, we put all this in, 5 squared times pi, which is the same as 25 times pi. we get 78.53. We're rounding to the nearest tenth, so 78.5 inches squared. And this would be the answer for nearest tenth. And that's an area of a circle.